Hello everyone, Ron here from RJJ's Reactions, and I am here with a bumped up request from Karina, and it is Sabaton, and the song is 1916. I believe it's a cover from Motörhead. I'm just looking at my note here. It says written originally by Lemmy Kilminster of Motörhead. So it's very emotional, and we will be looking at the lyrics afterwards. I usually only do that when the lyrics have been written by the band or a singer in the band, but I think it might be important in this one just from the note that Karina sent me. So thank you very much for this request. If you want to know how to bump up your request and get it within days rather than weeks or months on the regular list, check in the description below. There's a way to do that. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Just hit that subscribe button. It doesn't hurt at all, and it helps the channel a lot. If you want to help some more, there are ways to donate to the channel. Check in the description, and in the description will be a link to Sabaton's channel, so you can go and subscribe and like videos and support them as well. Keep those comments coming in and the information. I read them all and I answer as many as I can. All right, let's go with 1916. I know they do a lot of history, so I'm assuming this is World War I.
16 years old when I went to the war to fight for a land fit for heroes. God on my side and a gun in my hand, chasing my days down to zero. And I marched and I fought and I bled and I died, and I never did get any older. But I knew at the time that a year in the line was a long enough life for a soldier. Down our names, and we added 2 years to our ages. Eager for life and ahead of the game, ready for history's pages. And we brawled and we fought and we fought till we stood 10,000 shoulder to shoulder. Our thirst for the hun, we were food for the gun, and that's what you are when you're soldiers.
Yeah, I like his voice, and I did see his name, and I thought I'd put it here, but I hadn't. Joaquin, I think. Very sort of gruff, gravelly voice in this one anyway. Really, really good, and I like the drumming in particular. And now I hear some good guitar work coming in as well. Of course, the subject matter is. I generally don't watch war films. I generally don't do much about war, which was a lot of history is it's written by the winners, and it's mostly about wars. So, which it's odd when you think about it a little bit. I mean, on one hand, it kind of makes sense, but on the other hand, you think there are multi-millions, billions of people who live and do so many things in history and that don't involve war, and yet history seems to be just littered with war. But anyway, there you go. But yeah, very good videography as well. Excellent, excellent.
The gun, and that's what you are when you're soldiers.
We're going to keep going because I was asked to watch the complete outro, but I will mention a couple of things. Yeah, of course, this is the horror of war. I mean, it's yeah, there's often no winners, really, and it just keeps on happening. As you know, we can look around the world today, and there are still wars going on, and the cost is high. Is it worth it? I don't know. It's a big question. I mean, if you're, uh, what is the cost of a life, and then what is the cost of thousands of lives? And of course, many Canadians were in the war, and that we were uh, considered British at the time, of course, still. Um, in the First World War, and so many young Canadians, including some of my family members, were in the war, and some of them died, of course, and many Canadians did. Given our small population at the time, there were huge. I think it was Newfoundland that had in one of the battles. It was an enormous number of losses, just horrible, and of course, often very young people, and often did lie about their age because the glory of war, it was presented as something, really fantastic. And if you were a real man, you went to war, right? So I just hate it. That's why I don't watch them usually. Um, it's just, I don't know. You don't want to be ruled by horrible dictator or whatever. Yes, I understand that. So I kind of get the idea that you have to fight sometimes, but on the other hand, there's the argument that, you know what, if nobody was fighting, then no one's to blame, right? It's not my fault. I was following orders, and that goes all the way up the line. So, so I don't know, maybe just put the leaders in a boxing match or something. It's just sad, very, very sad. And I think humanity can do much better by creating, and why don't we celebrate the successes and the creations that we tend to celebrate the victories in war. But I like that this does look at the horror of it and at the great losses. Yes, beautiful cello performing. Love the cello. Ooh, very nice. I think that's the end. I don't think there was anything really at the very end. I will put a link, of course, the um, to the artist channel, as I say, so you can go and watch the video there if you want to read through. There's a lot of names there. So it took an army to make this video, of course, because there was so much to it. It was very, very well done, and yeah, the musicianship was great, and his voice was fantastic, particularly for this song and what they were trying to get across. I think it was well done. Thank you very much, Karina, for the request. It was well worth listening to. And as I say, I like the idea that it's not trying to glorify war. The problem is people who do glorify it will love this too. That's the problem. Even in movies that they make sometimes, I've seen a few, um, and they're not always intended to do that. But I know because I talk to lots of people, and some of them who just love it, and they take it in that direction anyway. So, but anyway, yeah, it's and the day's not half over and 10,000 slain. So it's and you think, okay, that's 10,000 people, but think of all of their friends, their family, their mothers, their fathers, their brothers, their sisters, their aunts, their uncles, their cousins, how many people does that affect? Everybody, whole societies and communities. And then what happens is they hate the other, and the other hates you, and it just continues on and on and on. And that's the tragedy of it. And at some point, all of humanity will be wiped out, probably by some plague or by some meteor or something else, and that'll be the end of all this nonsense of fighting back and forth. So instead of working together, we just seem to want to keep fighting one another. There are some good signs. There are signs here and there that people are finding ways to work together. At least we haven't had a technically world war for some time. We'll see if we can keep on that track. But anyway, thank you for this request. Well worth listening to, well worth putting up on the channel, of course. And hopefully it won't get blocked. If it does get blocked, hit that notification bell and you'll be notified anyway. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you did like it. Comment, of course, or send your requests. I will add them to the regular list. It does take a long time for me to get to them because the list is very long. If you want them much more quickly, as Karina, she bumped this one up. You can do that. Just check in the description below and check there for a link to the artist channel, as I say. And you can check out this video without my ugly face and other videos that are there and support them as well. And that's very, very important. All right, bit of an editing issue there because I forgot I was going to go and talk about the lyrics. I've already talked a lot about about the song and the meaning and the lyrics, but let's have a look at the lyrics now. Okay, here we are, 1916. 16 years old when I went to the war to fight for land fit for heroes. God on my side and a gun in my hand, chasing my days down to zero. Yep. Um, 16 years old, sometimes younger. I think it actually mentions this somewhere. To fight for a land fit for heroes. Of course, it was promoted, as I said, to not only for your country to get glory, but for you to get glory. It's just going to be amazing. It's fantastic. You're a real man. And God is on your side. Of course, God was on their side too, or some form of God was on almost everybody's side. Another issue for me is the God thing, but yeah, there you go. And I marched and I fought and I bled and I died and I never did get any older. Time cut short, but I knew at the time that a year in the line was a long enough life for a soldier. Yeah, it must have been horrendous. We all volunteered and we wrote down our names and we added 2 years to our ages, eager for life and ahead of the game, ready for history's pages. Yeah, so you want to get in, so you lie about your age, get in even younger. And we brawled and we fought and we whirled till we stood 10,000 shoulder to shoulder. A thirst for the Hun, we were food for the gun, and that's what you are when you're soldiers. Yeah, just fodder for gunfire, especially First World War, but other wars you die in other ways. I heard my friend cry, and he sank to his knees, coughing blood as he screamed for his mother, and I fell by his side, and that's how we died, clinging like kids to each other. Well, they were kids, so that's the truth of it. They were. They were men, but they were kids at the same time. I mean, if you're 16, I mean, good Lord. I teach 16, I teach all ages, of course. I teach 70-year-olds too, but I teach 16-year-olds, and trust me, um, they're, they're kind of like men, but not yet, not quite. And I lay in the mud and the guts and the blood, and I wept as his body grew colder. And I called for my mother, and she never came, though it wasn't my fault, and I wasn't to blame. And the day's not half over, and 10,000 slain, and now there's nobody remembers our names. And that's how it is for a soldier. Yeah. Thousands and thousands and thousands, well, millions over all the various wars, I guess, but yeah, so many dead uh, because of war. Yeah. And people remember for a while, and of course they put up memorials and things, but it's true. Of course, the names don't stay. Um, yeah. So the question is just what is it worth? And is there not a better way? Is there not a better way for us to do things? But I'll leave it there. Hopefully at some point, humanity will figure it out. It won't be in my lifetime, but it's, hopefully at some time they'll manage to figure that out, and this won't have to keep happening. But so far, it hasn't been sorted yet, and I know that sometimes people say, oh, well, they were more mature back in the day. I don't know about that. I look at pictures of my, not just my family, great grandparents or great great grandparents or other people, and I look at them and I think they're just kids. Like, come on, like, I'm sorry, but um, yeah, it's just horrible to throw them in front of gunfire and just let them get slaughtered. And um, yeah, it's just terrible. Anyway, they did an excellent video, excellent performance of a very trying subject. So, but as I said, it was well worth putting up. I'd almost forgotten to come into the lyrics because I'd already sort of talked about it during the song. And the lyrics were coming up during the song, which I didn't realize. I always go in cold unless it's an older song that obviously I will have heard from the 70s or 80s or 60s or 50s or even as back further than that. But for something that I haven't heard, I try to come in completely cold. So I didn't realize that the lyrics would be popping up. I probably would have just handled them there. But sometimes it's good to do it separately, and that way I don't have to stop as often during the video too. All right, I've already said pretty much all my piece before. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and just keep listening, keep having fun. Until next time, it's Ron from RJJ's Reactions. Bye bye for now.